Our bodies are incredibly sensitive and receptive, and yet many of us, for different reasons, have lost touch with this sensitivity. Why? Because we spend a lot of time up here in our heads. A lot of energy goes to this. But the sacred guardians, they're here to help restore our sensitivity, receptivity, and embodiment, and then protect it as a treasure. Without it, finding harmony here on earth, finding balance and peace can be a lot harder if we lose touch with that sensitivity. In fact, the Buddha describes these qualities, sensitive, receptive, embodied, as that which actually helps us and enables our ability to choose goodwill and compassion over ill will and hostility. He directly references this in the discourses on mindfulness of breathing, and he uses the word patisambedi, sensitive to, feeling into, directly knowing, training as one breathes in, completely sensitive to the body. One trains as one breathes out, completely sensitive to the body. And when our heads end up calling all the shots, our heads end up overriding the listening of the body. Even breathing and moving ends up being something that we do rather than something that we're sensitive to. For example, I use the example of mindful breathing. So often you might have heard, if you've done any meditation, that when our mind is distracted or we're caught up in thoughts, that we come back to the breath, right? We do the breathing again. But actually, that's a head-directed initiative. Rather than that, we could also be receptive and sensitive, like when we notice our thoughts running off, to sensing the breath. It's valuable to have the body give as much say and have as much value as what mind tends to dictate. This can take work, but that's why we've got sacred guardians and Qigong forms to help us really feel this ability. Qigong inverts the standard model of using the mind to calm the body. Instead, we settle and discharge the energies of the body that are restless or are turbulent, and this allows the mind to rest into this more settled state. And it's here where mind and heart as well both begin to feel more at ease. This is key, because when our hearts are at ease, our minds are settled in our body, we're able to respond to life with qualities like compassion and goodwill, clear knowing and understanding. One of my favorite quotes about this connection comes from Ajahn Sucitto, who's a Buddhist monk. And he wrote in a book that the vitality and ease that a settled body can bring can lift the mind out of oppressive, emotional, and psychological obstructions. It's a powerful statement. I like that he used the word obstruction and lift. These are obstructions. They're not permanent states, but they're just obstacles that we hit as we're trying to navigate life. And also that we can lift the heaviness of oppression, mental, emotional, psychological. But this arises through a quiet, settled, easeful body. And this training of receptivity, this untangling and loosening of that which tightens in our experience, requires some time and work and cultivation. But as we do this work, it's very, very important that we not approach it with pressure, stress, something to do. it's really beneficial to hold carefully and considerately this quality of being open, receptive. Hence, again, Qigong, just a sensitivity that we can really embody and embrace. And this approach to, whether it be meditation, movement practices, this approach that is less forceful, insensitive, mind-led, helps us learn to really open to greater sensitivity and embodied presence. This brings us to our next guardian, the yellow snake of earth and center and seasonal transitions. Snakes get a bad reputation in the West. They are, looked at as kind of negative energies, serpents, bad omens. But in Chinese culture, the opposite. Snakes are little dragons. They symbolize power, luck, protection from harm, transformation, bountiful harvest. They're also sensitive, like their skin is very, very sensitive. And Chinese, for the most part, have, ancient Chinese, I should say, for the most part have learned from and wanted to harmonize with the relations in the non-human domain, the natural world. Snakes are not something we see and kill on command or fear, but they're respected. We don't have to dominate and control something that we see as a threat. We can respect it, learn from its good qualities. And the snake is a great example of that. Right? We can learn through the snake movements to guard our capacity for sensitivity, receptivity. Learn from the famous sensitive skin. The receptors are scale sensilla. Right? Let snakes be sensitive to their environment, touch, pressure, vibrations. Then snakes can navigate their environments to hunt or detect potential threats. And I can definitely see that as a good quality as a human being to cultivate and have. We can also stay more sensitive like snakes do to our temperature. Really just connect more to our environment. And of course, snakes shed their skin. And this is another way in which the snake stays very receptive and sensitive. So in our forms, which involves a snake breaking out of its shell, it's a lot of fun. We will explore these ways that guardians can help us remain sensitive, receptive, and embodied. Let's begin.